Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the World Championship Series Challenger. We are now moving into our next match, the match that I have been waiting for, and production could not be more excited for, as well as Rotterdam. How you doing, man?
I'm excited for this one as well. Like you said, I think, the previous match, obviously, we have to get all of the matches out of the way. As much as I love Semper, and I've always loved casting and watching his games, you just kind of know that he doesn't have much of a shot going up against Scarlet, and with how good Scarlet currently is. But this match, this is a very interesting one where you can obviously make arguments for both players. I mean, like I said, some of the old school fans will always go for puCK here, and puCK is still the bigger name. puCK is probably, also known as a streamer a little bit, so a lot of people feel personally very attached to his gameplay. futuRe, on the other hand, has a couple of very good results over the last few months, and is without a doubt one of the very best Terrans in the NA scene. If you don't include Special, a lot of people say that he is the best Terran right now in the North American scene. So it's an awesome match. It's a really, really fun best of 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could actually say that, futuRe did manage to beat Special at Cheesadelphia. So does that mean, since the last time they faced against each other, he's better? That's not for me to say.
I don't think we should go there yet, but futuRe is really good, and that's very safe to say.
You have to understand, I have people I need to trigger. It's like part of my contract. I need to upset people. But I'm actually...
They told me to bully you, but I don't know how to do this thing.
Yeah, well, you'll get used to it. But I am really excited about this. This is also a rematch from that same Cheesadelphia. The grand finals was futuRe versus puCK, where futuRe ended up taking that 4-2. But the last time they faced off against each other was maybe like 2 months ago or something in a Base Trade TV event, I think. Or no, maybe it was Kings of the North group stages. And I believe like they kind of were back and forth on those scores and everything. So this should be really fun. I know most of futuRe's preparation for today was specifically just preparing for puCK, because he said, Scarlet, probably not worth even bothering trying to prepare for. Semper, he's a little bit out of shape. puCK, this is the guy I'm going to have to probably face off against the most.
Yeah, it's a little bit similar to what we had yesterday in WCS America, right? Where you have Neeb as the overwhelming favorite, and then you have Crucial Knock as a pretty big underdog. Awesome to see new players making it in, but most likely is not going to have a serious impact on players like Vindicta or Silky. So it's kind of like yesterday was the story of who's going to make it. Is it going to be Vindicta or is it going to be Silky? And I think in the eyes of many, maybe today, you can say, like, is it going to be futuRe or puCK? Now, I do think that both of these players do have a much better chance against Scarlet than Semper had. Though.
Yes.
So, especially, I think, futuRe, if he's playing his A game, like, shouldn't he have a shot against Scarlet from China?
I think, so normally, top form, by the way, we'll do the player intros because I'm pretty poor Awesome Sausage is sitting there on top of like the command center. All right, so down here in the bottom right, we were talking about him already. It's Infinity Gaming's futuRe, our 17-year-old Terran.
Kind of got so used to not doing it in Game 2 and Game 3 anymore.
I know.
Sometimes I skip it in Game 1 as well. On the left top side, we've got an awesome North American Protoss. He is representing Root Gaming. It is a one and only puCK.
So I was going to say is that I know puCK has been playing a ton and everything. The thing about futuRe is that I'm pretty sure, and Awesome Sauce was actually saying this, but futuRe has not really been playing a lot of StarCraft outside of just practicing for specifically puCK. I know he has been playing some other games. He's been playing some 10-mans with the boys lately. In some other games that shall not be named, but I know that he's still a really top player and in top form. I actually believe a lot in his potential to maybe beat Scarlet, but I think right now he himself only gives himself like a 20% chance, and he's usually a pretty confident guy.
All right, Ravi, talk to me. You're the NA guru. What's his Nexus all about?
So I'm pretty sure the SCV was over there, and he wants to just sort of be, I guess, ignore the SCV that was maybe going to engineering bay block or something. These guys, I'm pretty sure they hit each other on the ladder a lot, so there's going to be a lot of fun mind games between them.
Yep. I mean, like, basically anything past 4 p.m., if they're both playing, they're going to play each other over and over and over again. These guys kind of separate themselves from the rest of the pack in NA guys. Like, obviously you've got your 200 Grandmaster League players, but futuRe is often at like 6,500 MMR, or 6,400, and puCK is like at 6,300 or something. Well,
that's annoying.
That's actually really good for
you can let that finish. There's only one Marine out.
No, you should let that finish.
Okay, so the Reaper comes back. He might be able to grenade it off of the factory.
Get the SCV.
Okay.
Now get the Marine as well.
Where is it? No, he didn't let the Shade Fan. She's just going to go after an SCV, I guess.
Or he could recall.
It might be a little too late to recall, right?
I think if you would have done it immediately,
Yeah.
it would have been alright. Right now, it's obviously too late. It really wants an SCV, does not get the SCV. But still, pretty fun start here for puCK. He's able to properly mess up the build order of Future. But now, of course, we can say that maybe puCK's build order is a little bit messed up as well, because he took a very strange Nexus.
So here's my thought, Roddy, is that so many Protoss players have been doing that low gas style. And I don't know if that's exactly what puCK is going to be doing. And maybe as I say this, we're going to be completely disproven on this. But a lot of Protoss players have been doing that low gas style where you also take a fast third. So if you are planning to take the fast third anyways, is it as big of a deal if you take that third base instead?
Oh, absolutely. Because look at every single probe that's being produced in the main base.
That's true.
It takes a century, and obviously there's a lot of like tier 2 aggression that comes out of Terran once the medevac finishes up. Like, it's super frustrating if you would have to deal with a drop in your main and then maybe a couple of Hellions at your natural, so to speak, that's so far away. So I do really think it is a big deal, but I mean, like you said, maybe puCK also kind of feels like there's a good chance that I'm going to be playing against this young man again later today. So maybe we're going to use this first series to kind of test the waters, and then when it's for all the marbles, I'll bring out the A+ strategies.
Okay, so here's a little bit of that Stalker pressure moving to the front. He does hallucinate Phoenix and gets a scout, and he's going to see the tech lab on the starport, which sometimes can be a Raven, but that should alert him to the potential of the Banshee, especially since he sees something researching on that tech lab. It maybe could have been a fake out, but he should be respecting that, and he warps in some more Stalkers in preparation for it.
Yeah, there is a shield battery, but if Future is smart, he attacks the probes on the left top side of the mineral patches, and that's exactly what he does there, because those actually will not be healed up immediately by the shield battery.
Where is the Observer? The Observer is actually at the third base now, so he doesn't have one in the main base. He's about to pop one out, and the shield battery in the main base will keep these probes alive for a little bit.
Yep, this one is, I would say, better positioned. We'll be able to keep all of these probes safe, and also gives a little bit of time for these Stalkers to get over. Now second Observer is out. But the beautiful thing about Cloak Banshees is not necessarily about the immediate damage that they deal. It is, you force out multiple Observers, you force out Stalkers to stay at home. Now, I don't think that Future is planning some sort of a big attack anytime soon, but basically Banshees are the best unit out there to keep a lot of Protoss units pinned at home while your Terran forces march to the other side of the map.
All right, we'll see how things go from here. The Banshee is just going to be annoyingly sitting in the corner during all of this, ready for the moment that puCK is not prepared or leaves for a little bit. First two medevacs are now on the way, so that time that you were talking about where Future is going to be able to put that pressure on is coming very soon, but we already have charge, +1/+1 getting started up here for puCK, so if he chrono boosts those out, he should have a lot of that either done or close to done in time for the push.
But what I like about Future is that he's already producing a lot of Widow Mines. He's building 2 mines at a time, and I think a lot of Terran players are stuck in their ways. Not like, I make Marine, I make Tank, I move out. It's like, oh no, Zealot's so good. But if you actually show up with like 6 to 8 Widow Mines, do you know how difficult it becomes for Protoss to engage? Because a lot of Protoss players will simply no longer know when can I engage, when can I not engage. You don't want to overcommit, but you also can't undercommit, because then you just keep on losing your Zealots for nothing. So I really actually like this push by Future, and it's very, very promising.
I mean, especially given the fact that puCK is in fact playing that low gas style where he only has 3 of his gas geysers.
Because he just activated the barrier and took off half the health on this Immortal. Okay,
that is
shield battery, but still no barriers.
I think you'll have enough time to get the barrier back, right?
No, barrier takes a little while.
Another 10-15 seconds before the engagement, although Future's getting into a really nice spot between the third base and the natural. This is the ideal location where you can set up those Widow Mines that are going to cover your, I guess, your back path for any of these Zealots that try and run on in.
Yeah, but actually, ballsy forward blink there by puCK, and he's able to clean up this tank almost immediately. Didn't really end up losing too many workers yet. Wipes in a few more Zealots on the south side. Actually, really good defense so far by puCK. A little bit of friendly fire.
Oh no, the Forges.
Well, maybe you can get one.
I think you'll
get one.
Focus fire down one, yeah. You'll get that.
Right before +1. That's actually really sweet.
Yeah. Better to have lost +1 weapons over armor though, right?
You know, it felt that everywhere I looked, I felt that Future's units were dying, but he's got so many units out there, still being annoying. The Banshee feels like an F2 Banshee.
I think it was an F2.
That's a good old F2 Banshee. caught red-handed, Future. Can no longer call Protoss players A-movers out there. No, but that was actually really well done by Future because it felt like it went bad. I was like, oh no, this looks bad, that looks bad. But then he's still got a massive double drop active in the main base. Denies the +1 on the Forge, and he's able to retain so many of his units, and he didn't end up losing the medevacs. That's really important because medevacs are expensive, and this means he can just put all of his resources into more and more bio. And this is kind of an army where I look at it and be like, do I want to fight that without Colossus or High Templars? I'm like,
yeah.
Probably not, Robbie. Probably not.
And on top of the fact that there is this scary army poached forward that puCK is trying to respond to, getting up the Templar Archives and everything right now, puCK is only sitting at 54 workers. He's actually behind in workers. He might have his 3 bases, but he still is not taking those 4th, 5th, and 6th gas geysers, partially because he's only just now finished up that Templar Archive, so he hasn't had a need to spend that gas for a bit. But he really isn't finding many opportunities to just probe up some more.
That's a really good observation, because it kind of means that puCK is putting himself on the clock. And he was kind of gearing up for the next big attack of Future, and he's like, if I just put all of my resources into units right now, I may be able to get enough army out there to crush his attack, and then I can maybe counterattack and win. But the longer this goes on, the worse it becomes for the army that puCK is currently working with, because his gas economy is super bad. On purpose, of course, I understand that. He wants to get a lot of Zealots out, but I've said this many times, Zealots are really good at like the 120, 130 supply mark and anything below that. But at one point the bio ball becomes a little too big, and I have the feeling that we're already getting there, where there's simply a little too much bio on the side of Future.
Okay, so the Widowmines get some okay shots. Not as good as I think he was looking to hope to set up for, but the Liberator set up, and they do manage to snipe off one of the Immortals. Another Immortal's shields do get taken off and set off. puCK is going to go for these rocks. This is that timing you were talking about. +1 weapons is now finished up, and he has got to make this damage happen before things like the Liberator count grow too big.
Yep, but the first libs are already out there. Like I said before, the medevac count is still very healthy. Upgrades, they're even. I mean, I look at this Protoss army and I'm not intimidated by it. If I'm Future and I've got 168 supply of bio and Liberator and a couple Winter Mines out there, of course if the mines betray you, things can get dicey here, but normally Future should be more than fine.
Okay, Archon already taking some damage. Nice pick up there from puCK to save that Archon from taking too much more or any Liberator shots. But he ends up having to back up, and I think he has a probe over by the 4th base trying to expand, but it gets sniped off by a Marine right there, so that gets delayed, and it sort of alerts Future to say, oh, okay, you're not actually just trying to go all in on this. You are thinking about trying to expand from here.
Which is kind of funny, because to me it does feel a little bit all-in-y, everything that puCK is doing, because there is no Storm, there are no Colossus, no 2nd Robo, no 5th and 6th gas, and no 4th base, and he's down in workers. But at least puCK is doing the smart thing, and he's not just throwing everything away, being super reckless and running into a choke point where he can never get anything done. But I'm pretty sure that he's feeling slightly unease in this game, because he knows that this is not going the way it's supposed to go.
Nice spotter there from Future. Is going to catch the Warp Prism. Not just that, it actually takes a lot of the hit points off of that Warp Prism. Shields are already gone, and it's actually just darting between these 2 Marines. It's, oh my god, 2 Marines are going to snipe that off.
That was a nice game of ping pong for those 2 Marines.
Yeah,
this the Warp Prism as a little ball. Storm is on the way. This is really kind. Future is maxed out. He's perhaps waiting for those goals, but the moment those goals are out, I would really like to see Future start attacking. He's like, you've got everything you want, you're maxed out, you know, at this point it doesn't get much better than this, so let's go ahead and party. And the only thing that's weird is that there is no armory, no 2-2 upgrades, but his army looks very impressive to me.
Yeah, puCK is trying to set up that 4th base, but he is getting zoned out of that high ground location. So a lot of Marauders and a few Marines going to dive down to the low ground, cancel the pylons, and cancel that base. puCK is going across the map and just trying to backstab him. Oh, the Liberator siege up way ahead of the rest of the bio, and the Widowmines haven't actually burrowed in time, so they finally burrow, but it's way too late. A good amount of the army does get EMP'd there, but there's not that much army over here for Future to worry about, so he's just going to get out of there.
Yeah, puCK lost the Nexus and lost quite a few units here in the process. He's still working with an army though, and he did manage to buy enough time for himself to get Storm out, and once there is Storm, there's absolutely some hope, but I still love Future's position a lot better here once Storm does connect with a couple of these units in the front. Future's floating a little bit too much money, probably wants to spend that, and I think the moment he spends that, he can start looking for another fight.
Yeah, nice EMP also goes off on that Warp Prism, which does soften it up, and that is the big carrier for all the High Templars. Make sure that they don't get EMP. That's how puCK is able to still land some of these storms without immediately just losing all that energy. The double expand over here from puCK actually does make a lot of sense, just to try and get something up and play a little bit of catch up here, because as long as he's maxed out, he can at least continue to dance around trying to get good engagement. He's taking out a lot of these Liberators before they get sieged up. The Storm is also not too bad.
And a couple of Widowmines do get some juicy hits, but puCK absolutely hanging in there. And it's so bizarre to me that there is still no armory. I don't know why Future is doing this. He's been maxed out, he's rich, he's got money, he's got minerals in the bag. This is a very ballsy engagement by puCK. He does land some massive storms.
And now he can't go down that ramp. There's no way he could make his way down that ramp anymore with the storms there. So he backs up to the high ground, lifts up the orbital, but it's a little bit too late. That's going to get sniped off. He's going to try and get some retribution here, but Zealot Warp with +2 armor. This is that armory you were talking about, Roddy, where he doesn't have the upgrades, so these Zealots take so long, he's not going to get this Nexus.
Going to be a couple of SCVs being pulled here as well. Still a lot of DPS in this Terran army though, don't be fooled. It's been running away for a little while, but if the EMPs land, and it seems like they did, there's no storm available. Future absolutely turning this little engagement around as well, kind of cleaning up the majority of these forces. This game just became really scrappy.
He's got a lot of storms back at home though, High Templars that have been warped in for a while, so Future, he's trying to heal up his army, and even with all the medevacs he had earlier on, there's only 4 left, and they're all completely barren of energy. So Future is really got to be careful with these stims from here on out.
Yep.
Oh my god, and the storms.
Storms are going to dwindle down this army for sure, slowly but steady. I don't know if Future knows about the base at 12, though he thinks this is probably the only Nexus. So he's really prioritizing this skill. Eats another big storm to the face. War Prism shows up. More and more storms are connecting with these Marauders. Look how low this Terran army is. Every stim hurts so much. Future's going to have to go back.
He doesn't get the base. He doesn't even get the base, and even the medevacs were softened up from all those storms.
Really well done by puCK. I'm actually very impressed by the way that he hung in this game. He bought a lot of time for himself. He was out with his army out on the map. There was no way that his army was strong enough to fight, but he knew that. But he bought time for it. Didn't do anything silly, didn't throw away his units. And now suddenly we're looking at a scenario where he's got a big upgrade advantage, and he's got more storm than the Brothers could dream of. No! Storm!
Yeah, gotta get out of there. He's gonna be losing so many of these Marauders that died to 1 Stalker attack. The Planetary Forge is gonna hold for a bit, but not before the Sensor Tower burns down. And Roddy, this is an absolute worst case scenario. +3 armor is on the way, and Future's still sitting on 1-1.
I have no idea why Future did that.
I think it's just completely skipped his mind at this point. Like, I think he was we were expecting that puCK was pretty much just going to be all in. And my guess is that he thought, oh, I don't have time to get up an armory in 2-2 right now. I just need to hold this. And then the game just kind of went on, and he just completely forgot about it. Yep. A lot of storms being used here, and even though the Archons are forced and Future's taking better trades than I thought he would, there's still the rest of the army to worry about, and that's going to cause a GG.
Well, puCK wins the first game in, well, I think we can describe kind of a weird way. Obviously, it all started with his natural being taken at 9 o'clock, not something that we normally see, taking a little further away. At one point, it felt like he was taking quite some damage. He was completely lost against this first big push that showed up in his natural. He's like, oh my god, well, kind of dealt with it, but then at the same time took some damage, had his initial natural, and then it took a little bit of damage in the main base
lost
as well.
One of his upgrades.
Yep. Yeah, lost the Forge as well, +1 being denied with like 8 seconds to go. It felt that puCK was the kind of Protoss player that normally runs out of steam, where it's like, okay, I've got Zealots, got Stalkers, and I'm going to attack soon, and if I don't win, then that's going to be it. But he did a really good job in babysitting that army, didn't take a stupid engagement, didn't take a stupid fight, eventually got Storm out, eventually got upgrades out, and I don't know what Future was doing, but he was maxed out at 200 supply, at 1,500 minerals, 1k gas, and just never continued upgrades, and yeah, never really got himself in a good spot to fight.
Yeah, if there's one thing I have to compliment puCK on, I think it's one of his greatest strengths is that he is a really good player at playing from behind. Sometimes that does kind of bite him in the butt because he'll get ahead in a game, and then you'll kind of see him lose the leads in silly ways, but when puCK is actually playing from a situation where he's behind, man, I love that this camera loves you so much. Yeah, but when puCK is playing from behind, he really is able to make the most out of a small number of units.
That's right, guys. Words of wisdom.
So, Roddy, when are you going to take off your shirt, man?
That's not going to happen anytime soon. Also, Cup 20, that's years away, right? Like, we're getting ready for 19, but 20, that's years away. plenty of cookies and wings to be had.
Okay, guys, clip it. Make sure you write it down for home strikeout time. Just kidding.
All right,
you got too much already for that.
Game 2 is going to be played on Cyber Forest. Let's see what these young men will bust out. It was, like I said, an interesting game. Definitely pretty weird.
Yeah.
Not a bad game by any means. Pretty exciting game even. And the fact that puCK was able to win it. At one point, if somebody would have told me puCK's going to win this game, I'd be like, ha, I mean, how? But yeah, I guess if you just run circles and your opponent never attacks you and you get storm out, and it's not one storm, but at one point it's like 6, 7, 8, 9 storms. And yeah, Future just refusing to build an armory and refusing to get upgrades. He should have been ahead in upgrades, actually, because he had 1-1 after he killed that Forge. He was ahead. He had all the money in the world, like maxed out, money in the bank. No excuse, really, but...
It definitely was a potential victory there that kind of slipped through Future's fingers. So we're going to see as we move on to Cyber Forest or game number 2, whether or not Future can kind of bounce back from this. I want to remind you guys that similar to how Roddy was saying happened yesterday, this is going to be one of those groups where there's a very good chance that these guys will end up rematching each other in the decider match. So while that isn't really an excuse for, say, for getting your 2-2 upgrades or anything, this is probably going to be one of those matches where I don't expect like their full hands will just be revealed in this match.
No, I'm absolutely with you, but we still have to bring up the fact as well, like imagine a world where Future loses this series and it's like, well, I'm gonna play against puCK again anyway, so it's no big deal. And then suddenly puCK does like some weird cannon rush against Skarlet twice and it works.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna have a heart attack.
So you were asking me, or you said both puCK and Future have a chance versus Skarlet.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the side that I think Future has less of a chance. I actually do think that puCK is fully capable of beating Skarlet, especially considering she is playing with that extra ping and everything. I could totally see puCK pulling something out.
And that's why we love you, Ravi. You always believe in a beautiful hero
Look,
story.
here's the thing, Roddy. I have learned through many, many years of NA experience that any NA player can beat any NA player.
It absolutely happens once in a blue moon. I mean, we can't forget about like Idraling beating Neep, for instance.
Or Poke Bunny beating Neep before.
Exactly. These things, they do happen once in a blue moon, and that's why it's still important for both of these players to try to win their first match, because then at least you take fate in your own hand, right? And then you have a shot at Skarlet, and whether you win or lose, then it's not on you anymore. But at least you'll know that you won't be playing against Skarlet with your tournament life on the line. We are seeing an old variation, basically the max packs before the max packs. Obviously this one is with a gate at home, so it's not a real max packs build. But this used to be very popular for a while, kind of fell out of fashion. But the idea here is, of course, to push out a couple of stalkers, become very aggressive.
But talk to me about that pylon there, Roddy. The pylon behind your usual third base location.
I've got nothing for that pylon, Ravi.
All right. Maybe, you know what, I think puCK has just been playing a lot versus Masa or something, and he's just like, you know what, Terran players just build random buildings randomly on the map. Seems to work really well for them. What if I did that?
This is a really good scout, obviously, by Future. He's going to play this very safe. He's going to drop the command center in his main base to make sure that it will not get delayed by these adepts.
Roddy, think about this. The SCV didn't really scout, right? The Adept is going to keep the Reaper at home this whole time. So Future isn't going to... And oh my god, the Reaper gets picked off there. So puCK's Natural's not going to get scouted. There is a bunker over here. But with the command center on the high ground, with the max packs, usually you do feel like there's a point where you can kind of move down the ramp and everything. But it's a Twilight Council proxied over by puCK's third base. This is going to be really, really, I think, catching Future by surprise.
Yeah, it's going to be a very fast Darks run as well. I don't know. Let's see how it plays out. You know, obviously, puCK trying to do a build that used to be popular a while ago, where the idea is that you get a couple of Stalkers out very quickly and basically just run up that ramp, and if they're trying to be stubborn, the Terran player that is, and defend the command center on the low ground, you should be able to get a lot of damage done. But at this point it got scouted so quickly that puCK is like, you know what, I'll just go for one Adept. Like, I've made this investment into the gate, into the pylon. I'm gonna go for one Adept quickly, but after this, we're gonna do things a little different, and I'll just go for the Dark Shrine, because
and Blink.
I'm not gonna be able to get much done in the natural. And at this point the game is just weird, Ravi. There's no other way to put it.
I mean, I love this. This is awesome. This is definitely some prepared stuff. So we'll see how things pan out from here as the Dark Shrine's getting closer and closer to finishing. And guess what? Hellion's going to poke forward and be like, wait, that's the timing of your third or your natural? He's going to poke over here. He is barely outside the vision. No, no. Oh, poor puck. Well, the Dark Shrine's going to get scattered right before it finishes, and the proxy pylon will be taken care of
I
now.
love how much you love this. You're like, oh, I can't believe that just happened. I mean, like, Hellions are really fast, right?
Yeah, but
like,
you thought the Hellion would go behind the third base mineral line? Like, that was a normal thing for you to think?
It's not normal, but it's just kind of odd, right? Like, it's just one of these things where it can get scouted. You know, Hellions do fly around. It wouldn't be scouted by a Hellion. It would most likely be scouted by the first.
I like reading books that I don't know what's going to happen in them. All right?
Well, Future now obviously knows he can start throwing up those missile turrets to make sure he doesn't take too much damage from those Dark Templars. There is a robotics facility on the way, and just because you've scouted the Dark Shrine, that doesn't necessarily mean you're safe against the Dark Shrine. We've seen that a lot in the history of StarCraft 2.
And sometimes it means that you're not prepared for just no Dark Templar at all, and you've invested a lot into getting up some of the extra unit or things like the missile turrets and even the Raven sometimes, which does have value later on, but if no Dark Templar come your way, that is a little bit of a sunk cost investment, and maybe it gives you some opportunities to tech up and get some other stuff instead.
One of the things that a Dark Shrine does as well is that it keeps the Terran at home for a while, right? Because the Terran's like, oh, he's got a Dark Shrine, well then I shouldn't move out too early, because if I then run out of scans or I lose my Raven, you know, things can get very dicey. Don't want to find myself in that position. So what this does do for puCK is that it buys him a lot of time, and that's obviously what he needs. He started up with Blink. Blink is done right now. Now Charge is on the way, and even though this Dark Shrine hasn't done any real damage, it does already have an impact on the game just by being there.
Yeah, exactly. And behind all this, I want to note that puCK, yes, he has the 4 gateways and everything, but he has just been subsisting off of 2 Adepts and 3 Stalkers, because he doesn't have to worry, exactly like you said, about Future moving out because the Dark Shrine was there. But now the Raven is out. Stim, oh wow, Stim is actually getting started up a lot later than I thought it would. Did he finish up? No. Okay, yeah, I guess he just had the tech lab on with a starport and everything, so. Took a little while, but now it looks like there are some siege tanks, more siege tanks getting started. Here are some of the Dark Templars getting warped in, just turning into Archons.
We're gonna get some Archon res in a PvT.
There's 14 Marines, so there is a substantial amount of anti-air here.
Yeah, but without Stim, it's obviously kind of annoying.
And the Viking.
Oh, but you gotta be so careful against the Raven and the
Matrix.
Viking. Oh, the turret goes down as well, but now the Raven might actually go down. That would be a big loss. Archon, why are you so slow?
Oh, he gets it!
Oh, he gets it! That's actually pretty sick.
And keeps the Prism alive and recently healthy.
That's like the juiciest unit that he could have possibly picked off. Because that's the one unit that you need to keep around if you want to ever attack the other side of the map. Now he lost his tech lab, so he can't even rebuild the Raven at this point. And that's so frustrating for Future.
Yeah, you just got to save those scans at this point. He builds another missile turret just to be prepared for the potential warp prism to warp stuff in to the main base. He definitely doesn't want to do something like potentially lose Stim to some DTs that get warped into the main. So he's really, really respecting that Dark Templar potential. And guess what? There has, besides the Archons that were made, there hasn't been any Dark Templars.
Only puCK could get value out of an Archon drop in PvT, and he's actually doing an awesome job with it so far.
He is a micromaster, man. I absolutely love watching puCK play. Now we do see the double medevacs.
What's next? A medevac?
Oh my god.
Stim is done.
Archons.
No, Stim is done. You gotta get out of there, puCK. You gotta recall. You gotta recall.
Wait, wait, was that oh no, it was just going up the high ground. It looked like it had speed for a second.
All right, at least he gets the Archons out there. That's the thing, the most important thing.
And Robotics Bay is also finished up behind all this. So with the first Colossus nearly out and +1 weapons on the way, he's going to have exactly 1 Colossus out. But there's not going to be Thermal Lance here in time.
No, but he does have Charge. And I don't think I don't think that's something that Future is necessarily expecting here.
And a lot of Immortals. Wow.
There are 2 Widow Mines in the mix. Maybe could land a Force Field. Nice, barely too late for that. Blink.
I think the Stalkers blunk forward, right?
I think he's
they're off cooldown now.
I mean, like, if you're waiting for a Colossus at this point, you gotta wait for a little bit. Even if it's a single Colossus without Thermal Lens, still important. Do we have another Guardian Shield? Oh. 1
Widow Mine goes off on the Archons. Both of the Archons are now gone. The Colossus is working away at this army, and the Immortals are now going to be on top of those siege tanks. puCK is starting to make a lot of damage happen here. The Marines are getting absolutely toasted by that Colossus, and puCK is going to be able to clean this up. GG. puCK takes the engagement, 30 supply behind at the beginning, but Wow.
You know what really helps when you take fights like that?
What?
When tanks start shooting at rocks in the middle of the map.
Wait, what?
Yes,
oh my God.
absolutely. At least once or twice there. So Future losing a lot of potential DPS because his tanks were shooting at the rocks. I mean, still, like a really cool build there by puCK. I think his transitions were on point with the charge, with the blink. The one Colossus, no turbulence, but still really good against the Marines. And then he had the 3 Immortals to take care of the tanks. I think he got really good value out of the Archons, but that fight could have gone a lot better for Future if he doesn't shoot at the rocks with his tanks.
That is definitely true. Now, that does mean that puCK ends up advancing on to the winners match. Is going to be facing off versus Scarlet. And I know I was saying this, and I think Roddy was saying that he felt similar, that he is actually one of the players in this group that I think does have a decent shot at maybe making some magic happen versus Scarlet. Not going to say that he's favored or anything. Scarlet is still an absolute legend, but puCK, I'm really excited for that winners match. But even our lower bracket match should be pretty interesting because that does set us up for good old Future to face off versus Semper. Now, Roddy, I want to paint the context here. Semper, a guy who hasn't been playing a lot of StarCraft lately. He is a full-fledged lawyer now. And specifically, historically, Semper has always felt the worst about Terran versus Terran. And he is not like Masa, who says, oh, no, or like Kelazor, who's like, I don't really like TvT. And then they beat a bunch of really good Terran players. Semper is like the guy who did not like Terran versus Terran, and then he also loses most of his TvTs. But Future also has had a little bit of a rocky TvT lately. He lost versus Masa in the Kings of the North best of 3 pretty one-sidedly, I would say. So I actually think this is going to be, it's going to be a little bit of a clown fiesta potentially.
I hope so. I hope it's going to be fun. I hope we'll enjoy it.
I think it's going to be fun.
But I'm definitely leaning pretty heavily towards Future. I do feel,
I think so, yeah.
If I look at his previous best of 3, I don't feel that was Future at 100%. I think he truly has the mindset that you have as well, where he just assumes that he's going to be playing against puCK again later today, assuming that Scarlet wins the group and that he is going to beat Semper. That's what I think is going to happen, but we'll see how it plays out. It should be fun, though. You're right.
It really should. So, ladies and gentlemen, that Terran versus Terran is going to be coming up next. Semper versus Future. Loser gets knocked out of WCS Challenger. We'll see you there in just a little bit.